Hello guys, today I am going over how to prepare a canvas that is not clean, or it's been used for other purposes, or it's a surface that you want to start painting on or drawing with charcoal, with any sort of paint, which I'll get back to you later. So here I have a 2 by 2 meter canvas that has been used as an underlayer for my other paintings, and there's scrapes of paint, a little bit stuff stuck to it, or glue, and so I'm just going to prepare it for my next painting, and I thought to share this with you. You can use that on wood, on any surface that comes across you and you want to paint on. So I am going over with just simple gesso and mixing it with water, watering it down for my first layer. So it actually, what gesso does, it blocks the moist and the watery bit of the paint to go through canvas. So it seals the canvas from finding its other side when you're painting. And now I'm just mixing it with water. I have a very thick gesso from a paint store, and so depending on your thickness of the gesso, you can see that it still is thick enough, but actually the water goes through on the panel behind it. So make sure you have something underneath the canvas so it doesn't go through onto your carpet or your rug or on the flooring. And I'm gonna go over all of this. It's a 2 by 2 meter dirty canvas, and I'm gonna let it dry for a day or two, and it's going to become quite stiff, and you can feel that there's enough gesso spread thinly across the canvas, and no paint will go through that. So I'm going to go through all of this canvas with thin layer of gesso, taking my time, making sure the gesso is spread thinly across the canvas. One other note for a home studio: I have 2 teenagers and I've got a small apartment, so it's really hard to have a big space for my creativity. But I found these rubber mats from Bunnings, and gyms use them. They're 1 by 1 meter each panel, so it's easy to carry and move them around as well. So I've got 2 of them to prevent any paint or stain going through the carpet, and then I use a panel again, I just got it from Bunnings. I think it's the dimensions are 120 by almost 90, and I use that for my hard surface. So when I'm painting, I've got that hard surface to really press the brush if I need to. And I would like to get some larger ones as well, but the point is that this is my room, and I have dedicated 2 meters by 1 meter in the corner of the room. Everyone knows this is my creativity spot. When I am here, no one bothers. It's always there. I can always go back and work on it. And I found it really helps me to focus and be, it's always sitting there waiting for me. It's like it is so good. I don't know why I wasn't doing that before. So you don't need to actually have a studio to be able to paint large scale paintings. And just preparing, I painted the wall black, so it gives a little bit of vibe, and put some plants, and I do my workouts there sometimes as well. So it's everything sits around that little space for painting, which it's almost like it feeds you and you feed it at the same time. So don't worry about having a studio, dedicate a space, decorate it, and start somewhere. And the thing is that this canvas that I'm using is actually very cheap canvas from Bunnings, and they're 100% cotton. It is thinner than the actual canvases out there, and it's definitely not primed, and it doesn't have any gesso, but it's a good start. And some of the pieces are actually larger, and I cut them into smaller pieces. You can also stretch them on the board if you need to, which I'll get back to all those things later in the videos. So yeah, make a space for yourself, find a little corner, and get some cheap brushes. The brush I'm using there is from Bunnings again, for the big chunk of using paint. And then smaller ones, I've got like 10 of them in a pack. And sometimes these cheap brushes are actually very good. And make sure you wash them after use. You don't want paint to dry on them. And I usually go with not very expensive binding and gesso material, but I do invest on my paint. So I buy good quality paint, because then it will make me not just use them appropriately, so I don't waste it, because it's a good material, but also there's when it's thinly spread across canvas, it's the quality is different than the cheap one. So if you want to invest in something, I would say invest in the quality paint other than canvas, brush, flooring, all the things that can actually be very costly, and it doesn't really need to. A lot of the masters of painting in 400, 500 years ago, they actually they didn't have a very clean and perfect surfaces. They did have natural pigments, they did have techniques and skills and dedication to work on their craft, but some of them are actually, they're just sewn together, there's bits of other things attached to it, and there are painters across history where they just used anything in the house to paint on, and it didn't stop them from creating and digging into the craft of painting and drawing. So yes, that's my say. I'm going to finish this up and let it dry for a day. Gesso dries quickly, but I'm just gonna let it stay for a day and show you the next step, which is actually quite fun. It's the second layer of gesso, but this time I'm going to add a few things into it, which gives you a little bit of a texture, a little bit of a color, and takes that whiteness off, and the stains as well. It's really hard to work with a white canvas. It can be sometimes overwhelming. The second layer of consists of PVA glue, some ashes from the fire, I have also matte medium as a binder, and the gesso that I'm using, which is as called modeling paste, and some water. So I just pour all of them together and find a consistency that is desirable for how I like to work on the canvas. Give it a try a few times, try different consistency and see what works for you. I am also adding some black Carbon Black Series 1 of Matisse acrylic paint to compensate with the white gesso, so I get a nice tone of grey for the background of my painting. I will mix all this together, and I realized as I was mixing it got thicker as well, and over time as it was sitting it also got thicker, so I added water as I was painting along on the white. So we're going to try that and see how it looks like. Quite enjoyed using this ash from my backyard, and it does contain a little bit of charcoal in it, so it was a bit more gray than just the ash. You can use the ash on itself to get some white colors, and I particularly liked just to sieve it once so I could get a little bit of texture sitting in the canvas, so when I'm painting later on over it, there's a little bit of texture and feel to the canvas. For creativity to flourish, we need to take it slow, and when the time comes, you'll be ready to make the art piece. We live in a societies that it's all about production, fast pace, and making things, and that stress will be the block towards creativity. So there are times that I can be sitting in my room, reading a little bit, looking at things, mixing colors, and not particularly making or producing anything. And quieting the mind, meditating, going for walks will really help to balance the mind and sinking into the body to let the creativity come through you. So that was just a point I wanted to make, that if you're watching this video, don't feel pressure that you need to be making things quickly. If it's not working for you, you need to put the intention and wanting to do it, but also starting very slow. What I usually do with starting a project that is quite blocked and I can't really get to anywhere is starting very baby steps. Start like sketching 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Sit on the couch. I remember once I every day I would sit on the couch for 10 minutes and draw something that I was seeing, and I just kept doing that, and then that leads to the next step and then leads to the next step. So most of the work of art is done step by step, slowly, with mindfulness. And that's about it. So I'm almost done here, and as it's wet, it's actually quite glossy and satisfying. I feel like, oh my god, I actually want to draw something on it. And although it dries up and you don't have that gloss, but you still have a very nice vibrant gray, and it's not white. So that's all I have for you today. As I finished, there was a very nice sun going down, and here is our canvas ready for painting. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.